As kingdom business owners, I really feel that it is so important for us to not only have a space to be vulnerable, but a space to really share what is happening in your business and how you're navigating the warfare, how you're navigating the shifts that God is calling you to make, how you're navigating the expansion when God calls you to expand your capacity because the ideas He's given you are so much bigger than where you currently are. And I just feel this urge and this nudge from God to start having more conversations about it. And I really wanted to create this space for you to also navigate with me as I'm building these businesses that God has called me to create, and all these ideas that is involving me to shift and involving me to pivot. And so I really want to just talk with you about what's been happening and some encouragement that you will receive some revelation on what you can apply in your business, in your life, because our businesses are grown from the inside out. When you start from the outside, that's where burnout comes. That's where you build something that God never asked you to. So that's why it's important that we ensure that we continue to stay in alignment and where God has called us, and also just honoring the gifts and the visions that He has placed on our heart. And so God gave me a message that I really wanted to share. And I'm really not used to just talking and free flowing. I used to be, and then I started to script a lot of my messages and a lot of my YouTube videos and even some of my podcast episodes. And while I love that and I think that is important, I've realized that it's taken a lot of my voice out of it because I'm not just allowing the Holy Spirit to flow. And I put so much pressure on myself to get what I'm saying right that it doesn't feel as enjoyable. And I don't know if I'm voicing that how I am like saying it, how I like actually feel, because I have so much joy creating all of these videos for everyone and just sharing what is happening and like how I can help you. But God has just given me a desire for a different outcome. He has given me a desire to provide more depth, because you can find strategies all over the internet, but you're not going to find people who actually share what's happening on the back end, what's happening behind the scenes. And as someone who is about that action and does what God says, and someone who is building, who is scaling, who is the same person that she is online behind the scenes, I think it's really important to just share that side, because people are like burning down their businesses because they don't have joy and because they're not doing it with God. And that's the root of everything I do. My foundation is in God. I cannot do this without Him. I genuinely cannot do this without Him. And so I find myself, when I start to feel uneasy or I feel some resistance in my heart, I really like to get still and try to just discern why I'm feeling what I'm feeling. And not only that, I bring it to God and I ask Him to reveal it to me, because there's things that I don't even realize. And I've noticed that for the past few weeks, like my business has just had so much momentum, and it was feeling very aligned for a while, but I started to feel just run down, not because what I was doing wasn't exciting, but because I wasn't honoring the systems that helped me get there. I wasn't taking care of myself the same. And also because the demand on the business was growing, it was requiring another version of me that I had to step into. And it led to a lot of just uncomfortability because I had never been there before. Not only did it require me to look internally to be like, okay, what was I doing that got me here that helped me feel, I'm not going to say put together, but it just helped me feel good. Like I had rhythms in place, I had systems in place, I had routines in place. Like what have I not been doing since the business has been growing? And I realized there was a lot of things I wasn't doing. And there were a lot of ideas and a lot of urges, like having a night routine that God had been giving me for months that I wasn't doing. And I have to understand that it's through these rhythms and these routines and these habits that allow me to actually grow and sustain the business. And so a note that I wrote down is, God will give us a desire for a different outcome through those moments of resistance. So resistance isn't always bad. It's something that you have to be aware of. And in order to be aware of it, you have to be still enough to hear it and discern it. You got to quiet the noise. I've been having a lot of noise in my life as well. When I really sat and looked at my time and how I was spending it, I was spending my time with the Lord. I was praying. I was journaling. I was growing my business. But what was I also doing? I was doing a lot of the right things, the things that got me to the point where I am now, but I was also scrolling a lot more, which was causing me to get in my head about everything that I was posting. Because I know what God has given me to post is a lot different than what I see. And so when I'm seeing everyone have a type of success that I don't necessarily feel like I'm receiving, it made me question what God had called me to do. And God just keeps reassuring me that I'm the blueprint, that I am the shepherd, that I am the one who isn't like everyone else. And I know that. And so I ask myself, why am I looking outside when God is calling me to look within and look at my strengths and look at what makes me different than everyone else? And it's like, I already know what that is. And I know that people, I understand and I know why people love me. And when I first started my podcast, it was all about, I never talked at people. I talked with them. And whenever I started moving into more of an authority online, a thought leader online, I kind of took a step back from talking with you instead of I was talking more at you, because I thought that's what an authority looked like online. And what my friend helped me realize is that people talk about how when you're an authority, you are placed in this box, and there is no specific look to being an authority. I'm already an authority because God has given me dominion on earth. He has given me what I need to reign. I am created to reign. That is why that phrase, created to reign, is so important to me. That's why my brand, my e-commerce business is called Made by the Word, because we are made by His Word. I have the authority to turn these ideas to reality. I have the authority to command demons to flee. I have the authority to speak a word and it becomes. And so when I'm online and I'm seeing all of these amazing women, by the way, and amazing men, and I'm looking outside, there becomes a point where I start to question myself. And so I realized that a lot of the noise that I was feeling and why I was feeling so much heavier while the momentum in my business was happening was because I was online too much and I was looking everywhere else instead of looking at where my feet were planted. And I know what God has called me to, is amazing and mighty things, and so much behind the scenes that I'm working on that is so powerful. And I just can't wait for all of it to come to pass because I've never seen anything like it anywhere. God has given me such a big vision, such a big task, and like I'm executing it right now inside my ambitious woman sprint. But I just really felt the nudge to share this and just to talk about it with you through it, because I find that when I talk through what I'm thinking and I share with you guys, it's really freeing for me and healing for me. And so when you have these moments of resistance, it gives you the push to seek alignment. It gives you the push to make shifts. It gives you the push to pivot. It gives you the push to ask yourself what needs to change, so that not only are you moving in momentum, you're moving in aligned momentum. You don't want to move so fast that you're not hearing God anymore. You don't want to move so fast that you don't even realize you're posting or doing tasks in your business just because you saw it working for someone else versus what God told you to do. And so I love these moments of resistance. They're uncomfortable, but when I'm uncomfortable, I know that I'm growing. When I'm uncomfortable, I know that something is about to shift. So that's my perspective and the way that I see it and the way that I view it. And it's like, it reminds me of, even in my business right now, I have these stages where I'm going through feasting and famine. And that phrase is something my friend said to me when I was explaining how I was feeling. So she described it as feast and famine. So I'm having these seasons where I'm feasting and I'm having famine. I'm like, okay, there's got to be another way. Why do I have these seasons like this? I see that it's possible to like consistently operate in wealth in all areas, to have money flowing in and then money flowing out. But I had the thought about like, there's got to be another way to do this. So it caused me to seek God for an answer. And then it caused me to shift how I'm showing up, to implement new systems, to change the way that I'm showing up, to manage money better, to do all things. So yeah, I really pray that this blessed you and that it helped you make sense of maybe some clarity that you need to seek God for, or maybe just resonate to how you're feeling when it comes to life just moving so fast. When you're in a season of momentum and acceleration, you don't want to move so fast that you're skipping over the cracks, because the more cracks you ignore, the bigger that crack becomes years later. And then you realize that foundation isn't too firm. It makes me think about, like, for example, my windshield has the biggest crack in it, and it's terrible, you guys. It's terrible. It's embarrassing, honestly. Like, I don't want to pull up anywhere because I have this huge crack in my windshield. But I'm saying this because when you have a crack in your windshield, it doesn't start off as a crack that's spread across the whole thing. It starts as a tiny little crack, but time passes by and you're like, I'll get it fixed later. I'll get it fixed later. Months pass by and the crack is 5 times bigger. Now your insurance won't cover it because it's too big. Now you have to replace the whole windshield. And then you're like, well, since I have to replace the whole windshield, I'm just going to wait some more. And then it spreads across the whole windshield. So that is my own real life example that God just gave me right now of what it looks like to have momentum. Now I have to get the whole windshield replaced, when I could have just had that small little crack fixed, could have kept going, and we would have been good. So I really hope that this encouraged you. And I would love to hear from you. I would love to know, what resonated with you. You can let me know in the comments. You can tell me on Instagram, because this platform is for you. God told me when I started is that I was going to share my life, I was going to share my business, and I was going to give God the glory for it. And on my YouTube specifically, I am excited because I want to keep putting out, strategic implementation, helping you actually execute. But I also am excited because this is what I believe. These types of conversations is what I actually believe that you need. We think we need certain stuff, but in reality, it's a want. It's not a need. You want to come say hi? Come here. So that's why, to me, it's just so important that we can have these types of conversations to ensure that you get what you need. And inside my inner circle, inside Rain, this is an environment that is positioned to help you grow, to give you all of the tools, to give you all of the support, to work with the whole person, not just growing your business. That's just one part of it. It starts from the inside out. The women that are inside, their businesses are growing because they first started with their foundation, and that is building it with God. There are people who have already seen success that are in there. And let me tell you, it's a very humbling experience when you've already had so much success in your business, but then God is calling you to let it go so that you can do what He's actually called you to do. But people don't want to let it go because they're like, oh, well, this is bringing me income already, and I don't know what I'm going to do if I let this go. And it's important that you stay in the knowing and you're able to discern what God is calling you to do, and being surrounded by other women who are on the same path, who want to see you grow, who will pray for you, who will support you, who can give you wisdom and give you that support, and be in a space where you can utilize certain strategies that you're not going to find in the world, because we don't move on worldly strategies. We move from divine kingdom principles. And yeah, I'm going to put the link in the description, and I really can't wait to see you inside. And I'm thankful to God that I get to just talk. Like, this brought me so much joy and so much fulfillment. And I can't wait to have more of these conversations with you guys. So I love you, and I'll see you next time.